crashing my shop, buddy. Hey everyone, I'm Matt Phillips, Bicycling Magazine Senior Test Editor, and this is Pinarello's brand new endurance road bike, the Paris. Paris is a mid-priced endurance road bike. Mid-priced in this case means $29.50. Now that's higher end for a lot of people, but considering that Pinarello's top-of-the-line race bike goes for $12,000 to $15,000, this is at the lower end of Pinarello's scale. This bike is available in 9 sizes. That's a pretty good range. We're used to seeing 4 to 5 sizes in most cases. Pinarello does use 2 different fork rakes on this bike. So the idea is that the smaller bikes and the larger bikes all handle pretty much the same. Pinarello also touts that this frame uses the asymmetric shaping that is also used in their Dogma F12. Braking loads and pedaling loads put asymmetric forces on the frame, so they adjust the shaping and layup to bring the frame back into balance. Pinarello does claim that this frame does have aerodynamic benefits, although they do not provide any specific wind tunnel data or comparison. But we can see some pretty standard aerodynamic features. The down tube with a truncated airfoil shape, and the cutout for the front tire, skinny and deep fork legs, and they're bowed out a little bit to pull those legs away from the tire to reduce aerodynamic drag. One of the more unique aerodynamic features of this bike are the fork flaps. Fork flaps are those little protrusions that dangle off the back of the fork down near the front axle. We first saw those on Bradley Wiggins' Our Record track bike. They're supposed to improve aerodynamics. It's probably hard to tell in the wind tunnel. He went really fast, so maybe they make a difference. They certainly don't hurt anything, and they give the frame a little bit of a unique look. This bike has 30 mil tire clearance. It has internally routed hoses and housing. It uses a threaded bottom bracket, but an Italian threaded bottom bracket. The Italian threaded bottom bracket is a little less common, but Campy, SRAM, and Shimano all make one, so no matter what drivetrain you run on this, you'll be set. The build kit on this bike consists of Shimano's mechanical shift hydraulic brake 105 group. That's an 11-speed group with a 3652 mid-compact chain rings and an 1134 cassette. Now that gives you a pretty wide range, but if you're gonna be doing a big old Gran Fondo in the Dolomites or something, you're probably gonna wanna drop that down to a 3450 compact in the front. You'll also find this bike has 12mm through axles, front and rear. The through axles themselves on this bike are really trick. They have a little pull-out lever that you can pull out, engage in a slot and spin to tighten and loosen. Rounding out the spec, you'll notice Fulcrum wheels. Fulcrum's a division of Campagnolo, but without the Campagnolo logos, essentially. You'll also notice Vittoria tires with little matchy-match Pinarello logos on them. The bar, stem, seat post, and saddle are all from Pinarello's Most House brand. Pinarello claims this frame set weighs 980 grams. That's unpainted and probably without hardware. This bike weighs close to 20 pounds, but that's pretty typical for a disc brake equipped mid-priced bike. Boutique brands like Pinarello, they've always struggled a little bit with their mid and lower priced bikes. They just don't seem to have those killer spec for the money. Trek, for instance, their endurance bike, the Domane, 2900 with 105. However, Trek gives you a little bit more. They have their ISO-speed decouplers front and rear, which really help smooth the ride. Another bike you might consider would be Canyon's Endurace with Ultegra. It's about the same price, but you get a much higher level group. However, Pinarello has narrowed the gap, and especially when you consider the bike's performance. And that's what really surprised me about the Paris. On the road, this is one of those bikes that tends to ride lighter. I went up some pretty steep dirt road climbs on this bike, and it never felt like a pig. It's really damped, it's very smooth, it's a really pleasant bike to do a long ride on. Shimano's 105 group, man, is really smooth, light action, precise, the brakes are excellent, it's quiet, and you know, when you're on this bike, you feel like you're riding a nice, high-quality bike. It's not a cheap bike, but it's not a $12,000 bike either. Actually got a PR on one of my favorite descents on this bike, which surprised me because it didn't feel like I was going extra fast. Subtle smoothness and stability to a bike like this. couple of my cons on this bike. Again, the value, it's a little challenging, especially compared to like some of the mail order brands. Also a little disappointed in the tire clearance. Like to see more in an endurance bike nowadays. One other thing, the rear brake hose, it's obviously not encased in foam in the down tube, so it can buzz and rattle and knock around in there. That's just a drag. You don't want those kind of noises. I think the Paris is for any rider who's looking for that endurance fit and feel. Second of all, you're gonna have to be okay with paying that premium for a boutique brand. It's not like all your buddies Demanes and Defies. So that's Pinarello's new Paris Endurance Road Bike. Just a really nice bike to spend a whole day riding. But what do you think? Let us know in the comments below. I stalk those comments. I'll be happy to answer questions. And be sure to subscribe to this channel so you can catch more of my videos and more of my coworkers as we review more bikes for you. You can also find me online at I Like Sushi on Twitter. Hit me with questions there. Wait for the truck to go by, wait for the truck to go by. And let the skateboarder go by. Skate, skate, skate.